rally slash protest the other day in downtown, and there were two groups. There was one group behind the metal fencing. Their permit had them in this sort of cordoned off area of the park, and they were the anti-socialist, anti-communist, anti-New World Order group. Then you had this other group whose permit required them to continue walking the full length of sidewalk on Bathhouse Road, turning around and going back and forth about a little less than a half a mile. And they were the group that was for bringing families together, reuniting the border families at the Mexican border. And as these two groups would get close together, they'd start trying to talk, and there'd be yelling going back and forth. Now, I'm sure some of that was anger, but another part of it was the fact that there was a 25-foot gap between them, mediated by the National Park Rangers, who did a great job. And then there was traffic noise, and then both groups had to sort of continually move to talk to each other. So not a lot was getting accomplished. And then I thought back to my days working on a summer camp with a fantastic summer camp director, an iconic man named Alden Tyrrell. And he used to say, how are we going to get the world to heal itself if we're not going to be able to sit down at a table and talk things out? And I think I thought of that the other day in the back of my head, and I just decided to ask these two men if they'd sit and talk to each other from different sides. Hey, let me ask you guys, can you come over here and talk together? That way you don't have to yell. Would you do that, please? Yeah. For me. Come on over here. Let's talk. Here's a shot of both of them. On the close side here is Caleb Cooley, and on the other side of the fence is Kevin Holland.
Children that are being abused, neglected, or whatever, but nobody ever raises Cain about that, and it happens every day. It happens every day here in America. Where is the outrage of that?
Keep your family safe and get them out, even if it meant breaking a law in another country.
You're exactly right, and you bring up a good point. And this is what I've been trying to tell the crowd out there.
Most of these cases, these children that are coming over, I absolutely agree. Kids can't be housed in the same situation as adults.
Now, both Kevin and Caleb listened to each other politely, let the other person talk, didn't interrupt, and respected where the other person was coming from. To me, these guys are heroes because instead of inciting things, they were willing to listen to a side that they didn't necessarily agree with and hear the other person out. Now, on social media and network media, there's always a tendency to go for what sells. It brings in advertisers and more viewers. I understand that. But sometimes covering something like this where two men or women, but in this case men, are getting along, talking, and listening to the other side is something we need to highlight more. Coming up on the 4th of July in just a day or two, and we have to remember that America was built on people disagreeing. We disagreed with the British, we had independence, and we had the Civil War. In the World Wars, you know, we were mortal enemies with the Japanese and with the Germans and, you know, with many other countries that we're now friends with today. And it's hard to see sometimes when people seem so far apart that you could actually get together. And I just want to say a special thank you to Caleb and Kevin for being the men that you were, deciding to get together and hear each other out and talk. This is really the first step in getting things going where people can understand each other. Imagine if we had 10 or 15 people from either side being able to talk things out. And you know, the amazing thing with Kevin and Caleb is that in the end, I summarized with them all the points that they seemed to be in agreement on, which was many more points than what they were disagreeing on. I think a faster process, easier to get a green card, quicker reunion with the families. You're for that?
Absolutely.
You'd be for that too.
Yes.
So now we have some young men over in Thailand, young boys that are stuck in a cave for 10 days. They may be there for many days more before they rescue them. And I want to read a quote from somebody at the Chicago Sun-Times, and who is actually there at the cave now. And he said, "We've seen no name-calling or finger-pointing. We've heard no griping based on nothing that this nation or that nation has an unfair advantage. Nobody has singled out anybody based on race or religion. No nation has made big promises and then reneged. We have seen only admirable international community coming together in a spirited joint effort for the sake of 12 boys on a soccer team and their coach. And we now pray that this story has a happy ending." So there you have some awful adversity, and people from all different countries and all different points of view are getting together for those kids. And I firmly believe that it's not just Caleb or Kevin, that many people or most people on both sides of that fence, if yours or my child were in danger, would not be thinking about the political background or angry issues that they disagree with other people about. They would be there to save your child. And isn't that what humanity's about? Sure, we can disagree on these esoteric things and have different ways of coming together to make America better, but we might disagree on. But in the end, we're all Americans, we're all humans, and we all really do care for other people that think differently than ourselves. And so at this 4th of July, I want you to really think about conversing with somebody in a polite manner the way Kevin and Caleb did that you might disagree with, and that remember, you're all human beings, you're all Americans, and deep down, you're pretty much all striving for the same thing. My name's John Cooksey, and you're watching the Hot Springs Broadcast Network.